if it just sat there and didn't go anywhere.
Because the deadline is next Friday.
A week from this coming Friday, I believe.
Okay, so
yes.
2 weeks from today, because today's Friday.
Maybe it is a week. You've got me now. I forget what day of the month it is. Time is flying by.
Yes, it is Friday. So either this coming Friday, like a week from today or 2 weeks from today, sometime like that, yeah. So if any bills are still sitting in committee, that's kind of their deadline. If they haven't made it past committee, then
yes,
so sorry.
If they don't make it past committee, then those are the bills that will sit there, and probably the proponents of those bills will work on them next session and try to get something going. But the dairy air bill, as we call it, is truly directed at dairy farmers, and with Tillamook County being a dairy, let's not
community.
Say it's not a dairy state, it's a dairy community, it's a dairy estate. It belongs to us. It belongs to the people of Tillamook County. And, we're very proud of what we do. We're proud of the fact that we have been way ahead of the game when it comes to conservation, to environmental issues and that sort of thing. And honestly feel like Senate Bill 197 is an insult to us. It's a slap in the face.
Right, because you're very proactive you don't wait for someone to complain. You're constantly thinking of ways to improve and improve environmentally, both, soil and air and all that. Water, exactly. Because those are all your resources that you use as well. I don't know if they can hear this on the radio. It is really loud ringing.
It is.
I think the microphone's picking it up a little bit. So what does this bill talk about, or what is it trying to enact?
This bill would, I could actually read it to you, but I don't know that I'll do that. What it does is requires the DEQ to undertake rulemaking that will develop a program that regulates dairy air emissions. And as we say, and as one of our chief people at the Oregon Farm Bureau office that lobbies for us and does a fabulous job. Marianne has said, as Marianne Nash, and many of you out there are familiar with her and with her name. She's been to Tillamook numerous times working for us. But she says, they're not an air quality program in the state of Oregon. That's been proven. And Oregon air is really nice, clean air. And in the places where it isn't, it's usually in urban areas, it's wood smoke and that sort of thing. We're not saying, however, that people shouldn't be allowed to burn wood for heat either. But at times of the year, that can propose a problem. What else would I say about that?
This bill is trying to control, basically, I think Bill Bartline came on, it might have been in January, and mentioned this, but didn't really talk about details, but he called it an odor bill. Yeah. It's basically to control the dairy odor, which we all know is not 100% of the time.
That's right.
We were talking about before we went on the air, I think the paper mills stink worse, and they're all the time. Like anytime you drive through Albany, it stinks from the mill. Camas, if you're, up in that area, it stinks because of the mill. Here, it's not all the time, but somebody in the valley got a wild hair up their behind and decided, I don't know, maybe they came out on a stinky day. I'm not sure. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, we all admit that, cow manure can smell.
Sure.
And we have made a lot of effort in our methods of application. The fact that we have digesters. On McCormick Loop, where I live, there is a digester. And the surrounding farmers do send their manure over there. It is piped over there.
I know. I think that's really cool.
And of course, then we don't get as much complaint about it smelling when we apply the effluent that's left from that process on our fields. But honestly, we get just as many complaints about people driving by that say the digester smells. And yes, there is a smell. And it depends upon what they run through that digester as to what the odor is. The digester, in order to make it economically feasible to keep it running, brings in other residue, other waste from outside the county from other processes to run through that as well. And then the effluent from all of those processes is shipped sent back to the farmers. It's pumped back over to us, and we put that on our fields. It still has some nutrient value in it, and so it can still be used to make those fields continue to grow without applying chemicals.
Sure. Yeah. I know it's stinky, but it's a cycle where you're using, do they call that closed loop system or something like that? I don't know. But it's where, you're using the byproducts to create a different product that the cows are going to eat. And then it's that cycle.
Yes, it is. It's
very environmentally friendly, regardless if it smells.
Except that it does smell.
Yes, it does. And we know that. Yeah. So it's sitting on a desk somewhere in a committee.
Sitting in committee.
And it has to be approved to go to the next step. And I know
that's right.
I'm not sure how familiar you are with that process. I think both Betsy Johnson and David Gomberg had very briefly mentioned it's a long process to get a bill enacted.
It is a process, but once it goes through, then it goes to the people, to vote, or to the governor to sign.
Right. It still has to get through Senate, still has to get through the House.
Yes.
And some other levels in there.
And I honestly can't tell you where it is right now, other than it is still sitting, still being contemplated. And there may be something that comes out of it. It may be changed a little, like 1517 was last session. It boiled down to just Tillamook County.
Right, as a pilot program.
Yes, it was a pilot program. And, this may as well. Let's hope it doesn't boil down to the same sort of thing, though, and really point at Tillamook County.
Yeah.
Even though we have more dairies than most of the rest of the state. So,
and you said her name is Marianne. Is she
Marianne Nash?
Is she involved in any of those? The legislative session at all? Do you know?
Marianne is. Marianne spends a lot of time at the Capitol working for farmers and ranchers. She is an employee of the Oregon Farm Bureau, has a law degree, and she does a lot of lobbying with legislators for us, as well as Jenny Drexler. Jenny is also on board with Oregon Farm Bureau, and those two young women are fabulous.
So they kind of keep you apprised of what's going on out there.
Oh, absolutely. And they call us out to say, hey, you guys need to come talk or send a letter or, let these legislators know how this is going to affect you. And I would encourage anyone that is involved in agriculture in any sort of way to keep tabs on what's going on in our legislature in Salem. And it doesn't hurt you to make a phone call, to send an email, to write a letter to the legislators and tell them how it's personally going to affect you. Tell them your story. You don't have to bash them, and tell them how negatively you feel about this, but how is it going to affect you?
Right.
And what you
take the emotion out of it.
Yes.
Because a lot of times you put the emotion in and it kind of distracts from your actual message.
Oh, yes, I do. When I'm talking, I find myself raising my voice because it's something
you're passionate about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You would recommend probably sending a letter to Betsy or David, right?
To
Betsy Johnson or
yes.
David Gomberg.
David.
Oh, he's South County.
Well, but David also has part of this of Tillamook too.
Oh, true. It's there's a carve
where
out
we
there.
live. David Gomberg is our representative, and Arnie Roblin is our senator. And we're just out on McCormick Loop, south of town.
Yeah, it's kind of split half and half. That's right.
But we consider all four of them our.
It's
two
kind of
representatives,
nice, right?
And two senators. It is kind of nice. Yes.
Yeah, get a little team up action there. Yeah. I'm going to take a quick break and we're going to talk about Rosenberg's. Where do you go to find almost anything you need for home improvement? I'll tell you where. Rosenberg's. Rosenberg's has been your local connection for anything you need to build and finish your house to perfection. Carpet, cabinets, paint, electrical, plumbing, nuts and bolts, fencing, windows, doors, and so much more. All those items in one place, but that's only part of the story. What really makes Rosenberg's your stop for home improvement is their people. Their knowledgeable, friendly staff is there to help you through any project. Any question from what paint you should use to how to install a new shower valve, you can get the help you need to do it right the first time. Stop by Rosenberg's today to rediscover what you've known all along. It's better to shop local and work with great people that you can see every day. Build it, plumb it, wire it, paint it. Rosenberg Builder Supply, Tillamook. So we're talking to Carol Marie this morning on this rainy morning from the Farm Bureau. So we were just talking about the odor bill, the dairy air bill, 197. So they want to control it, but what are the repercussions of that? Like, what does that, have they said these are the ways, or DEQ would have to get involved and then come out and test the air?
DEQ would certainly get involved. And
that's kind of what they're proposing.
In the bill, it does say that they can actually enter onto and inspect at any reasonable time a CAFO, a confined animal feeding operation. And for those of you that don't understand that, in this state, CAFO is required by any dairyman
because you don't want your
that
cows
has animals confined at any time of the year.
Right, which we do during the winter.
Of course.
Most of the farms do around here in the winter.
Absolutely.
When it's like this outside today, your cows, you don't want them outside.
And, and that was all instituted more for water purity and for the water quality. But anyone that has a CAFO, they may enter on to... and they can investigate, and we're already inspected to make sure that we're not in violation of anything.
Sure.
But this would allow them even more access, and there would be more record keeping. There would be an expense, obviously, in this time where the state budget is already having some problems. There would be an expense to pass this and implement this, and have DEQ involved in 2008. There was a task force. It was a dairy air task force that was, and they did some studying and they decided what should be done, and actually nothing really came of that, but they did discuss it, and obviously, to my knowledge, they didn't think at that time that there was, really any problem.
An
but
issue,
it's raised its head again.
Gotcha.
And these kind of things are ongoing and continuing, and there's always issues.
Right.
And I think what a lot of people don't understand is what we do. We're proud of what we do. We believe we do it well. We've always been stewards of the land, and we are in ourselves the original environmentalists, so to speak.
Sure. Well, like I was saying, it's your resource. You're using the resource, so why wouldn't you take care of it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Is the DEQ involved in anything related to farming now?
A DEQ, yes, but I'm just trying to think of how I could put that.
Well, I was just curious. I mean, you don't have to go into detail if you don't want to, but I was just curious if it's another agency that's now having to get involved where they weren't involved before.
Well, the Department of Ag, is who is responsible for making certain that not just dairy farmers, but farmers in general, really hold the line.
Right.
And it's like I've told a lot of people, and I would say to you too, Lisa, and to the general public, no matter what you do in life, there are always some bad apples,
Yep.
And those are the ones that get the attention. And then what it does is it sort of points
ruins
the
it
finger
for everybody.
at all of us.
Yeah.
It does.
Yep.
It does. And I know. What more can I say?
Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah. Yes. See what happens with Senate Bill 197. And folks out there, dairy farmers in Tillamook County, if you're listening to this morning, you still can make a phone call to your senators. And those would be Arnie Roeblen and Betsy Johnson, or to the committee. That it now has this sitting on their desk.
Which I'm sure you could probably Google or something, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
All you have to do is go online and you can just, take care of a comment right there. Okay. So certainly would appreciate that.
Yeah.
And,
let's switch over to another controversial subject.
Yes.
The PUD transmission line, right?
Right.
So not this coming Monday, the following Monday?
Yes. Would be Monday the 17th.
Okay, thank you. I was trying to do the math.
At the Shiloh restaurant is where I believe we'll be meeting. If not, I'll call the radio station and say, hey, wait a minute, would you tell everybody it's elsewhere?
Yep.
But it should be at the Shiloh restaurant, 6:30, Monday the 17th. Folks who want dinner can have dinner while they're there. It's, of course, at your own expense. And PUD is coming to give us a rundown, a little talk on what their plans are for this transmission line that goes through some of the farmland out to the beach. And we certainly would appreciate having you show up for that meeting, whether this is going to affect you or not.
Right. And not just to ask questions, but maybe to provide your opinion or your input on how that's going to affect you as a farmer.
Yes, exactly. And I'm not saying that this is all negative, and that isn't what I really want to imply. I just want you to come learn about it.
Right.
And when you find out exactly what it is that the plan is, then you're going to know how it will affect you, and you can express your opinion, your thoughts on that. So,
do you know what their timeline is, or is that still kind of up in the air?
I do not. Okay. I believe, Lisa, that they are coming to, give us the details on that. At least that's what I'm expecting. They called Farm Bureau and asked and requested to come and speak to us. So we said, sure, we'd be glad to hear from you.
I am not sure what that beeping is, but I'm sure we'll find out. As the lights are flickering in here. So yeah, good. It will be a good informational meeting to get some information kind of about. And this has been a topic for a while, right?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, I feel like I've read about it in the paper for a couple of years now.
I've been reading about it, hearing about it. You hear a little chatter here and there about it. Personally, I have never given it a lot of thought until I received the phone call saying, can we come talk to you? And so I'm thinking, gosh, you know what? Been hearing about this. It's getting serious.
Right.
So let's find out what the facts are, what the plan is. Is it a sure thing or is it not? And if it is, what's it going to do? What's it going to do to KTIL?
Right. So they're going to be running a line from, is it underground or above ground? Do you know?
Good question. We'll find out. Okay. Monday night, the 17th.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I did not ask questions of them. I just made arrangements for them to go ahead and come. The Farm Bureau board said, yep, we'll hear from them.
Yeah, no, it's good that they're reaching out too. Yes. Because they know that that's going to affect somebody.
And that it's going to be controversial. Like with the farmers, whatever you do, it raises controversy with somebody.
Yeah. I'm going to take a quick break and we're going to talk about the Regional Medical Center. Sleep is far more crucial to health than you may realize. 25% of Americans report not getting enough sleep at night, and 10% say they suffer from insomnia. A lack of high-quality sleep can cause grogginess and fatigue throughout the day, but it can also lead to serious chronic diseases, including heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and obesity. Some tips for preventing sleep apnea and other sleeping disorders include quitting smoking, avoiding alcohol, caffeine, and heavy meals 2 to 3 hours before bed, developing a regular sleep schedule, and keeping the bedroom dark, quiet, and cold. Sleep experts also recommend powering down cell phones, tablets, and the TV in advance of bedtime. Tillamook Regional Medical Center Sleep Lab is designed with you in mind. To find out more, talk to the experts at Tillamook Regional Medical Center. They are committed to the health and wellness of our community. So we're talking with Carol Marie this morning, making sure I didn't hit a button, from the Farm Bureau. I wrote down something while we were talking. How has the weather affected the farmers as far as, because I feel like, are cows still being stuck inside? We were talking, that's what reminded me when you were talking about the enclosure, the confined animal areas.
Yep. Our animals are still in.
Are they normally in at this time?
Normally by now they're out.
Oh, geez.
This time last year, we had a little flooding last year. Middle of March last year, we had all the refuse from that high water, we call it, in the pastures, cleaned up, fences fixed, cows out. Any of you, if you're farmers out there, know that you cannot really get your cows out there without tearing up the fields. We, on our farm, have some bucco, beautiful grass that we cannot feed because the ground is so saturated.
Yeah, it's squishy. So wet. Even my yard, I walk in there on the yard in my rain boots. It's like squish, squish, squish. Oh my gosh, it's wet.
So, yeah, it requires a little more work, a different kind of work right now because we're feeding animals inside. We're still feeding a lot of corn and grain and alfalfa, cleaning a lot,
I'm sure.
which produces more of that manure.
Derriere.
It's not
Yep.
out in the fields. They're
Sure.
not dumping it out there themselves, but it's going into the tanks. And so we have to wait for breaks in the weather to, we pump that over to the plant,
digester,
to
yeah.
the digester. But then, you get it back and your tank will only hold so
Sure,
much.
yeah.
And there are already laws, regulations that pertain to what sort of weather conditions you can apply that to the fields. And if the fields are already saturated, of course, there's no soil left to take
absorb
up
it. Yeah.
that. So we're working hard to keep everything under control, as I'm sure all of the dairymen in this county are doing, because the entire county is wet.
Yeah. And
Especially
you
today.
said waiting for breaks, and I'm thinking, what breaks? There haven't been any. I mean,
Well,
maybe
we've had a few.
Maybe a day here or there, but
Yep.
it's not
Yeah.
very long.
Yeah, we have had a few. We've already got huge storage for that manure or the effluent from the digester, but some of the farmers, it poses a problem, and what are we to do?
Yeah, you just gotta. You can't control the weather.
That's right.
I'd like to. I'd like to control the weather, make it a little bit more sunny today. Do you want to talk about the new visitor center? And I saw, by the way, that they're starting to tear down the old.
Yes.
They're starting to do demolition over there,
Yes,
which is kind
that
of interesting
is
to
like-
watch.
Oh, I know.
I drove by 101 yesterday and I went, oh,
Whoa.
yeah.
Yeah, the new visitor center, the double red metal
Barn
shed,
building.
barn,
Yeah.
yes.
Man shed.
Looks like a barn shed.
It does.
But not inside, folks. If you haven't gone by, do that. And
There's some really cool pictures of local families,
there
local
are
farmers. Yep.
Yes, there are some cool pictures of local families.
And by the way, I shouldn't say pictures because it's not an 8x10. We're talking like a 6 foot,
murals,
12 foot. Yeah, murals, like a big, huge printed. Nick's Wald, I saw a picture of him standing
Yes.
next to him, and he's gigantic in the picture and looks like a little, like a midget of himself. So they're big pictures. Yeah.
And there's, of course, an ice cream bar in there. You can still get lunch there or breakfast or whatever.
Cafe.
They still have a cafe. They have 2 mobile units, I believe, that are actually parked right up next to the building, and then they have windows. So from the inside, you can go to the window and order your food. There's a small gift shop. There, of course, are cheese samples. There's a tractor in there. There are some, I believe, the fiberglass cows.
I was going to say, I think
Yeah.
there's a cow exhibit or something, right?
There will be sort of a milking exhibit, show how, that process takes place.
Which is kind of what the old one had, but a more updated version of it.
Yes, yes. Over by the calves, I know my great-grandchildren appreciated being able to push the little button and hear the calves moo.
Oh, how cute.
There's also one for the cows. And it was, somebody pushed that the night that the dairymen were out there and the employees were out there. And it was an open house for us before it actually opened to the public. And somebody pushed that button, and I thought,
Oh, there's a cow
sounds
in
like
here.
an elk to me.
Oh, how funny.
Not like our cows, but it had that high pitched sound.
Squealy sound.
And
yeah.
cows will do that sometimes. They will bawl, we call it like that.
Yeah.
But it sounded, if you didn't know, you'd think, gosh, there's an elk in here
Oh,
somewhere.
how funny.
But, it's really nice. I'm glad that the temporary exhibit and the temporary visitor center was built, because a lot of people come to this county expecting to go to the cheese factory and get ice cream.
And cheese samples.
Oh, and cheese samples.
Yep,
Yes. And to be able to look through the merchandise. And just, visit with each other. And it's a great experience on a day like today, guys. Get out there.
go out
if you want to go out for lunch, go
inside.
there for lunch and,
Right.
Get in, support the dairy farmers, support our co-op, and enjoy being away from the wind and the rain.
Yeah. I have friends in California that shared a story about it. I have friends in Portland that shared stories about it. There was one article on Facebook about it was closed. The way the headline wrote is it sounded like it was being closed permanently. Yeah. You'll never be able to go again. So then I commented on there because if you didn't read the article all the way, they clarified it, but fear mongering, whatever. No, it's still open. There's a timber. Oh, good, because we were planning on coming up this summer, and so it's a point of interest. I mean, it's a highlight. People make a point to come out and go there.
Yes.
So,
and another thing, I believe that we are starting dairy tours again, like we've had in the years past. There will be a few dairies that are available for tours from the visitor center. I'm not sure exactly how people will sign up for that, if they will do that online ahead of time or maybe when they get, if there's room on a tour for the day when they get to the visitor center to sign up for it.
Yeah.
But that will actually take our out-of-town folks that want to get their kids out and see how a dairy operates.
Yeah, and see the actual cows
out there on the farm.
Fun.
I think that's going to be fun.
Do they take a shuttle from the creamery?
I believe that's how it's going to operate, yes. Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, whenever we have out-of-town people, my husband's family's from the East Coast, so we always, and we have, friends that own farms, and so, hey, can we come over? And they get on a little Kubota tractor, and we go out and see the cows and, the chickens and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's, for us living here, I see cows every day, but folks that don't have that opportunity, they get so excited about it. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, it is fun, and it's fun for the farmers. And yes, I know it takes a little bit of our time to allow people to come out and do that, but we need to do more of that kind of thing and educating.
I was going to say it's a good education experience.
Yes, people as to, how we operate. And, even with that dairy air issue, it's a good way to educate people as to why we do what we do, how we do it, actually see some of what we do and gain a little more understanding, and those proponents of that dairy air bill, I want to say, if only they all really understood, we are a business, we are an industry, all industry has things about it that other people that aren't a part of that industry do not like.
Or understand.
Yes. And we employ a lot of people in that dairy industry here, not just in Tillamook, but in this state, the state of Oregon.
Yep.
It's, it's a major contributor within the ag realm to this state of Oregon, our beautiful state of Oregon, that already has clean air. Let me tell you, this wind and rain here is really cleaning up the air.
Totally. I was talking to somebody that was not from here. They were here visiting, and they said it was a sunny day, like I think it was Sunday or Saturday, whatever day was really nice. And they said, it sparkles, like, because they're from San Diego, from California, and so they say when it's sunny out, everything sparkles. Yeah, the air's real clean, for sure. We are out of time. Was there anything else you wanted to mention?
No. If you'd like to join or support Farm Bureau, give me a call. See Todd Johnson at the farm store. Yeah, he's a Farm Bureau member. You can call me at 842-4877, and I would be glad to connect you with information on supporting.
Fabulous. Let's see. On Monday, we will have the OSU Extension Office. Don't forget, senior meals, 11:30 at St. Mary's by the Sea in Rockaway Beach every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also noon every weekday at the Kiowanda Community Center in Pacific City, as well as the Tillamook Senior Center at 4th and Stillwell. Cost is $3 for seniors and $6.75 for everyone else. Today, there's a fish fry for the Tillamook Swiss Society at the Swiss Hall. You can call Carol Marie Leuthold for more information. Do you know her phone number by heart?
Yes, I do. You
want to plug it?
Yes, Carol Ann's phone number is 842-6954.
There you go, if you want to find out more about that fish fry. There is an open house today at 5 Rivers from 2 to 6. You can see their beautiful senior living community and meet their new executive director, Janet Engel. They'll also be giving a tour and having a prize wheel that you can spin. They'll have progressive appetizers and door prizes given away throughout the day with a grand prize drawing for a local wine and cheese gift basket. Again, that's today from 2 to 6 at 5 Rivers. The Catholic Daughters are holding a rummage sale this weekend, today from 9 to 4 and tomorrow 9 to 2. It'll be held at the Sacred Heart Gym. Proceeds benefit local charities and scholarship programs. The Garibaldi Lions are having a cleanup fix-up day tomorrow at Lumberman's Park from 10 to 2. Ugh, I hope the weather's okay. They are needing volunteers, especially those with carpentry and handyman skills. Lunch and drinks will be provided to volunteers. Tomorrow, the Whiskey Creek Volunteer Salmon Hatchery is holding their 29th annual fin clipping party. Donuts and coffee will start at 8. Fin clipping starts at 9. To find out more info, call 812-1572. Join the Tillamook Estuaries Partnership and Tillamook Bay Watershed Council on their Explore Nature, a Steelhead Ecology hike tomorrow from 10 to 1. The hike starts at Mapes Creek Landing at 10. Bring rain gear. Registration is free, but there is a $4 charge for parking. The Nehalem Bay Winery is celebrating their anniversary with a party and pig roast tomorrow from 2 to 5. It'll be free admission, rain or shine. They'll have live music from the Sedona Fire Band. On Monday, the high school exchange students will be at the Officers Mess Hall hosting a culture night, where they'll be sharing their culture with our community. The event starts at 6. And also, on Monday is the Monday Musical Club featuring the freshman and sophomore high school musicians of our county. This annual program will be held at 7 p.m. at the Nazarene Church. Refreshments will be provided. That's a lot to get through. Carol Marie. Carol Marie. I get you confused. Thanks for coming in and braving the weather to come in.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yes, and thank you, Tillamook, for listening.